Let's start with entering the speaking area, which is the audience's first impression of you. Whether you like it or not, your audience will be making an assessment of you before you've even had a chance to speak. This means you are on from the moment your audience can see you. Let me show you what I often see. See how many errors you can count. One of the challenges about being a lawyer is the long hours. See what I did? I let my nervousness show. I also started speaking while I was walking, and the spot I eventually chose to plant myself on was off-center and too far back, not to mention the distracting hand gestures. Before I give you an example of what a good opening looks like, let's break down the techniques that make a strong opening. Firstly, ask yourself, how would an experienced, confident you stand and walk? Consider their posture, facial expressions, and how they would walk onto a stage. Then, during rehearsal, and that's the key word here, rehearsal, practice adopting that posture, because that is the persona you will need to step into on the day of your presentation. And no, you don't have to be an experienced, confident speaker to do this. How you hold yourself is a choice. So why not hold yourself as the best version of you, and with a posture that says, hey, I'm here. I've got something to share that's worth listening to. Before you get up to speak, it's also a good idea to identify the best spot to deliver your opening lines. Just watch out for audience members who may be on the outer edges, because if you're too far forward, you might cut them off from your delivery. But then again, if you're too far back, your opening may lose impact. Okay, so let's say you've adopted the right posture, you've walked confidently to an appropriate spot on stage where you can see your entire audience. Then what? You start, right? No, not yet. Before you open your mouth to speak, pause. This is especially important if your audience is talking. There are several ways you can quieten a noisy audience, but often just remaining quiet until your audience has settled does the trick. Let's say in this case your audience is listening, so there's no need to wait for them to quieten. Before you start speaking, take 2 or 3 beats to eyeball your audience. This is what 2 to 3 beats feels like. Then deliver your opening lines with this grounding, open gesture. I know it might seem a bit prescriptive, but it doesn't come across that way. And if it feels forced, it's probably just because you're not used to it. It's a great way to start, and it gets you using your hands at the outset, which makes it easier to continue using gestures throughout your presentation. So, let's look at all these techniques together. One of the challenges of being a lawyer is the long hours. That, I think you'll agree, is a stronger opening.